Hey guys, welcome back to my beauty stash, or welcome if it is your first time here. Hello, my name is Steff. I would love to have you become part of our makeup family, so be sure to click on that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy watching. Today I'm going to be ranking all the palettes that I've tried, I think, in the last 2.5 months? 3 months. No, this is more like 2 months. Oh, guys, there's over 30 palettes. There's 32 palettes. To be exact. Actually, there's probably a couple more, but I'm kind of coupling them together as one palette. So we have a lot. We have a lot to get through today. So if you're wondering about the makeup that I'm wearing, I will have it linked in the description box if there's room. If there's not room, it's going to be in a pinned comment. But I'm using the Hella palette from Uden's Eye and Angelica Nyquist. I love this palette. I hadn't used it in a while, but yeah, definitely wanted to use it today. Everything, again, I'll have it either in a pinned comment or the description box, everything that's on my face. But let's dive on into ranking all of my recent eyeshadow palette purchases. If you guys want to see what topped the list and lined the bottom, keep on watching. All right, guys, so again, there's going to be 32 palettes. I do want to mention that 30 out of the 32 are pretty good quality. Like, I really didn't have an issue performance-wise with majority of these palettes. It's just more of like a color preference thing, the way that I'm ranking them when we get to number 30 going up. So in the number 32 spot is the e.l.f. and Dunkin collection. So I picked up the entire collection. Look, I still have the sponge in the box. I haven't used that, but specifically the bite-size eyeshadow palettes. I felt these were a bit off. I have pretty much all of the e.l.f. bite-size palettes, and for me, these were the most underwhelming. I feel like these didn't perform as well as the others did, and I feel like the color stories are just a little too light to where somebody with a deeper skin tone might have difficulty using some of these, in particular this one right here. I mean, I love the color story of this one. You guys know I love blue and brown together, but I don't know, the quality of these, it just didn't do it for me, and that's why the e.l.f. and Dunkin collection is finding itself in the bottom spot. So coming in at number 31 are the Huda Beauty Color Block palettes. Now these palettes are a little bit different because they include a water activated liner. In this palette, I believe it is this shade right here, and then in this one, I believe it is this shade right here. So I like the color stories. The color stories are really good. And you know what, guys? Like, these palettes, they worked out really great for me. I know for a lot of you out there, these were major duds. For me, they've worked out all right. Do I think that they are amazing quality? Do I think you need to run out and buy them? No, unless you're a huge Huda Beauty fan and you don't have these shades, you know, already in your collection, then yeah, why not? I think I would definitely go for this one over this one. I felt like even when I was swatching the purple shades in this one, they didn't swatch that great. I definitely felt like this palette swatched a lot better. But I mean, we have these. If you have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, if you love colorful makeup, you have these shades like 10 times over. So I don't feel the need of spending $29 on each of them. I don't feel like you need to run out and buy them. Maybe if they were on sale, okay, but you know, they're just okay. I definitely have other Huda palettes that I like to use, and that's why I'm putting these in the number 31 spot. So now we're getting into 30 and below, and these are the palettes which I all think have really good quality. It's just going to be more of like a color story preference, and coming in at number 30 is the Hindash. This is the Monochromance palette. This is a face and eye palette. It's you can use this as blush, you can use it as bronzer / contour. I have only used this shade in here as blush, and of course I have created, you know, a few eye looks with it already. This is all matte, and I don't always gravitate towards all matte palettes, so that's why I'm putting this one in the number 30 spot. I'm also putting it in this spot because I feel like it's just a little too light for me. I need to have a little bit more of depth. This is definitely more on like the pastel side, very spring, very just soft makeup look. look, and if that's your thing, this is a beautiful palette. Again, you can use it on the face as well. This is my very first experience with Hindash. I think it's a beautiful palette, but for me, it's just not something that I'm gonna reach for all the time, and so that's why I'm putting it at number 30. Coming in at number 29 is this palette right here from We Makeup. The brand actually did send me this palette. They curated this palette for me. This is one of their spring curated palettes, and I like the palette. I like the performance of it. No problems there, but again, I feel like I have these colors already. I do love the yellow. I do love the blue. I love this like terracotta shade down here, but some of these other shades are just Like, for example, this shade right here, I could have used another shade instead of that one. I just feel like it's a little too redundant. I definitely have these shades already. The formula is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not very exciting, and that's why I'm putting it at number 29. Coming in at number 28 is the new Too Faced Born This Way Sunset Stripped palette. So another neutral palette right here. Again, quality is great, performance is great, no issues there, but I don't always reach for these shades, guys. You know I love, obviously, colorful makeup, and while this is a really solid neutral palette, it just doesn't get me excited. I'm not excited to use it. I guess I feel a bit bored. I feel like we've seen this color story over and over again from Too Faced. I was really hoping they do something a little bit different, but if you're in need of a new updated neutral palette and you like the Too Faced formula, this would be a good one to check out. Coming in at number 27 is a palette I'm sure some of you were not expecting to see this close to the bottom. And unfortunately, it's this one from Natasha Denona. This is her latest palette. This is the Pastel palette. And while it's colorful, you're probably thinking, Steph, you love color. Why is this so low to the bottom? It's that these are just too light. This for me is definitely a companion palette. I feel like pastels alone on my complexion, they just wash me out. I'm not used to seeing myself in just very light shades. I like to have a little bit of depth, and there's definitely no depth in this palette. Amazing quality, amazing formula. If you're worried about how this is going to perform, don't be. It is a really solid performing palette, with the exception that there is no depth, and I need depth. I feel like I am too fair-skinned, too pale to be wearing very light shades. I feel like they just kind of wash me out, and adding, you know, some deeper shades in there, they really make my eyes pop, and so that's why I'm placing this in the number 27 spot. Coming in at number 26 is a new brand from one of my most favorite celebrities, Give by Gwen Stefani. I love Gwen Stefani, and I love these palettes. I think these palettes perform outstanding. There is no issues performance-wise, but you can see why I'm putting these towards the bottom. I mean, it's just not a color story, again, that I'm excited for. I was excited to try the brand. I still am, because I know she's going to be coming out with some new products really soon, but you know, guys, like I like colorful palettes. What can I say? But these quads are really nice. The performance is great. I have been using and loving the eyeliners. There was a matte black eyeliner, and then there's a metallic blue eyeliner. Love those. Love the red lipstick. Love the eyebrow pencil. I have definitely been getting a lot of use out of. But unfortunately for these, I haven't really reached from them since I reviewed them. So, you know, I have them on display because I think the packaging is really cute. And again, I am a huge fan of Gwen Stefani, but this color story just leaves something to be desired, at least for me and my beauty stash. Coming in at number 25, another pastel palette, and this one is from ColourPop. This is the new Let's Roll palette. I put this higher than the Natasha Denona because of the packaging. I love the cover art on this, on the whole collection, actually. I thought the whole collection was really cute, and this is what the color story looks like. Again, another pastel palette, really nice shimmer shades. I think a couple of them, I know this one is like a Super Shock formula. I mean, really nice. The formula is great, and for like, what, 18 bucks, 20 bucks that the palette costs, I mean, it's a great buy. It's a great addition if you're just looking to add or update your pastel palette. You don't need to spend the $63, $65 that the Natasha Denona pastel palette costs. You can come over here to ColourPop, spend maybe less than 20 bucks and get a nice pastel palette that's gonna look great with deeper shadows in your stash. Coming in at number 24 is another ColourPop palette, and this one is the Star Wars Darth Vader palette. So this one was released 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, I think. I feel like it was more on the recent side. They just released the Star Wars collection, which was round 4. You will be seeing that palette a little later in the video, but for right now, Darth Vader is taking the number 24 spot. I think the color story is nice. I think it's a nice cool tone color story, to be honest. And I'm putting it in this spot just because this is where it fits, you know? There's nothing wrong with this palette. I think it's nice. I do like the color story. I like the packaging of it, but there's just other palettes that I like the color stories of more, and that's why this one is in the 24 spot, but good packaging on this one. Coming in at number 23, Lowest Cosmetics Meet Me at Midnight. This is, or has been, my only purchase so far from Lowest Cosmetics. It will definitely not be the last. I really like the color story of this palette. This is a nice jewel toned color story, really beautiful. I thought the performance, the formula of this palette was really nice. It was easy to work with. We have a lot of deeper shades in here, but we do have a couple lighter shades in here as well, and I like the mixture of matte and shimmer shades. This is a very nice palette for me to be introduced to Lowest Cosmetics. Their Meet Me in the Afterworld palette is definitely more on the grungy side. Beautiful palette. Haven't been able to pick that one up, but I've been very happy with Meet Me at Midnight. Now guys, obviously you're gonna see a lot of indie brands in this video, and I'm not too sure if all of these palettes are still in stock, but they will be linked in the description box to where maybe you can just sign up for email notifications to be notified whenever they do restock. Coming in at number 22 is this one right here from Moira Cosmetics. This is the Written in the Stars palette. I picked this up recently when I did a Moira Beauty haul. Moira Beauty or Moira Cosmetics? I think it's Moira Beauty. But this is a color story. We have green in here, so now you can see why I picked up the palette, but this was a very inexpensive palette. I don't think I paid more than $20, maybe $24 at the most for this palette. There is no pressed glitter in this palette, just really nice shades. We do have some neutrals in here to kind of just anchor the palette with, and then of course we have these fun pops of color. We have green, yellow, some purple here, lavender there, and nice shimmer shades. If you're looking to try anything from Moira Beauty, I would definitely recommend their concealer. The foundation has been pretty good that I tried. Their cream blushes, their ombre blushes, their eyeshadow palettes. I already have 2 Moira eyeshadow palettes, and they both perform great. I just browse around really on their site. They have so much makeup to look at, and it's all really affordable. And I've said this in another video, and I'm gonna say it again. I feel like maybe Moira could be the new BH Cosmetics because they just have so many good things, and I like that they are spread out. Like they have good foundations, good concealers, they have good eyeshadow palettes, good blushes, good bronzers, good brow products. They just are doing so much right, it seems like, in every single category. Primers, they just launched some new primers. Guys, go check out the Moira Beauty website. You can spend hours there just looking at all of their stuff, but if you want to try one of their eyeshadow palettes, Written in the Stars is a pretty good one. Coming in at number 21 is this one from Fenty. This is the Stalk'r Face and Eye Bronzer Highlighter palette. And when I did my video over this palette, I did create an eye look using the palette, and this is definitely something that I will be taking with me on vacation this summer in a few weeks. I am so excited, but that's why I bought this palette. Well, 1, to review, and 2, because I know I'm going to be taking it with me. I said this in another video, which I think you've already seen that video, but when I go on vacation in a few weeks, this is going to take the place of my Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette, which I always travel with, but I'm going to take this one instead. It's almost the exact same color story, and these pans are larger so that I can use them as bronzer. I thought this was a really nice release from Fenty. I really love the Fenty bronzers. I love the powder bronzers, which are these, more so than I love the cream bronzer, and I'm very happy to have this palette. It's a great multi-purpose palette, and it's definitely worth adding to your stash. Coming in at number 20 is What's Up Beauty Geodes eyeshadow palette. This is my very first and only eyeshadow palette from What's Up Beauty. They were kind enough to gift me the entire Geodes collection, which I do have three of the polishes on my toes, and I'm going on week 3 with this nail polish, so it's lasted. It hasn't chipped. It looks great. The polishes are the same shades as some of these like duochrome shimmer shadows in here. This was a really nice palette. It did give me a little bit of a problem, but that was because they also sent me their natural goat hair brushes. I didn't wash them before using them, so I definitely think the brushes kind of made the shadows have a little bit of a hiccup moment where one of them got a little bit patchy, but I was able to fix it, no big deal. I have used this palette since, and I have not encountered any issues with it. It's just a really nice palette. I love the color story of it, and I love all of these beautiful shimmer shadows. They all have really nice shifts to them, a nice reflect, and the matte shades are the perfect neutral shades to complement these amazing shimmer shadows. I would definitely recommend checking out What's Up Beauty. The Geodes collection was a very nice release from them, and thank you What's Up Beauty for gifting me this entire collection. Coming in at number 19 is a palette that I just reviewed on my channel, and it is the bPerfect and Makeup by Alina Rain palette. Now, I love bPerfect Cosmetics. Their new cream bronzer, which is called Cronzer, I have it right here in the shade Toasted. I have been loving this all week, ever since I got the palette and that. But this palette, the reason why I'm putting it kind of a little bit lower than I normally rank bPerfect Cosmetics is because it has 4 pressed glitters in it. And this was the first time that I worked with bPerfect pressed glitters, and it could be the first time that they include pressed glitters, because I have a couple other palettes that don't contain pressed glitters, but I didn't really like the pressed glitter formula in this one. Like, you definitely have to use some glitter glue with it. But that's why I'm putting it in this spot. I love the color story. You know, do you have these colors already? If you love colorful makeup, yes, you do. But if Makeup by Alina is one of your favorite content creators, she is on Instagram. I don't think she's on YouTube, but she's on Instagram. So if you follow her, then of course you're gonna love this palette. The quality is great. I most definitely would have ranked this palette higher had it not had pressed glitters, but since it does, that's why it's in number 19, but it's still a great palette. Coming in at number 18 is the new Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. I mean, artwork, can we just start there with the artwork? Because the artwork is absolutely beautiful, as are all Lunar Beauty packaging. Manny always does a great job designing. Well, I don't know if he does it, but I'm sure he has a huge input as to what the design of the palette is on the outside, but they all have beautiful designs. I know you can see the blush palette behind me. That's a beautiful palette. The eyeshadow palette, I love the formula, but I think you can see why it's coming in a little bit lower than I normally would put a Lunar Beauty palette, because it's just too neutral of a color story for me. But if this is what you wear on a daily basis, if maybe you don't dabble in color, maybe you only wear color once a month, this is a beautiful neutral palette. I think the formula, the performance of this palette is spot on. The row of shimmer shades is just beautiful. Like, these shimmer shades are stunning. They're very impactful. I thought that all the mattes blended out really well. But for me, guys, like, this is just, it's just too neutral for me. And I know that if I didn't have my YouTube channel, I probably would have just gotten the blush palette that's behind me and passed on this one. And this is one of the palettes that is made in China in the PRC. And I know a lot of people have noticed a difference in quality and performance. I cannot speak to that because I haven't noticed anything. Like, I still feel this palette, even though it's made overseas, still performs as great as his other palettes that were made in the USA. But of course, we all have differing opinions. I'm just here to give you my opinion, and I think it's a great palette. And if this is a color story that appeals to you, I would definitely pick this up. Coming in at number 17 is the Artist Couture Supreme Mauves palette. This is my very first eyeshadow palette purchase from Artist Couture, and here is the color story. Another neutral color story, but I did like these shimmer shades in here, and I like the overall performance of this palette. I thought it was a nice color story, and mostly Artist Couture is a lot of neutral makeup, neutral eyeshadow palettes. I think this is his most colorful eyeshadow palette, to be honest, but I liked it. I definitely like this color story. And it was a nice palette to work with, and I do like the packaging of it, and I look forward to trying more Artist Couture in the future. Coming in at number 16 is the ABH Norvina Volume 6 eyeshadow palette. Now, I love the outward packaging because I love stars, but you can see this does get a lot of fingerprints on it. But let's look at the color story. So another rainbow colorful eyeshadow palette. We do have this nice row of deeper shadows, which I really love that. But the reason why, again, I am putting this a little bit lower than I normally would, because for me, these are amazing palettes. Like, the formula is outstanding. But this one does contain a couple pressed glitters, and it is a predominantly matte palette. I need more shimmers than what we're getting in this palette. We're only getting 4 different shimmers, and 2 of them are pressed glitters. So yeah, I would say out of the 6 Norvina palettes, the big ones like this would probably be my least favorite. I do love all of the colorful shades. This is definitely the way I would do a pastel palette, because we do have some depth down here at the bottom. And again, for me, I feel like I need that depth because I'm so fair-skinned. But I could have done without the pressed glitters, and I could have used a few more shimmer shades. Other than that though, it is a beautiful palette, and performance is not an issue with this palette. It is spot on. Coming in at number 15, I have a trio of palettes, and it is these right here from Beauty Bay. These are the by Beauty Bay palettes. We have Midnight right here, and these are all 16 pan palettes, no pressed glitters in any of them. We have the Earthy palette, which of course is the green palette. We love that. And then we have the Berries palette. Guys, I did looks with all of these palettes. I did individual videos with all 3 of these palettes, and I love them all. Performance is not an issue with any of these palettes. The way I ranked them, and of course this is just going by color story, Earthy was number 1, Midnight was number 2, and Berry was number 3. You guys know I love green, so that was gonna be an automatic, Earthy was gonna be automatically in the first place. But for, what did I pay for these? $11, $12? Something like that. A very inexpensive price tag. It was less than $20. I think I was able to get them on sale. I mean, this is a steal of a deal. A lot of people have said when you're working with the by Beauty Bay eyeshadow palette formula to go start with the deepest shade and work into the lightest. I didn't have to do that with these palettes. I was able to do my usual light to deep, but you do whatever, you know, get them home, see what works best for you. But I loved them. I love all 3. If you can get all 3, get all 3. They did come in 9 pan, 16 pan, and like a 45 pan. I just chose to get the 16. I thought that was a perfect combination, a good blend of shades, and I love all 3 of these palettes. Coming in at number 14 is this palette right here from Beaute Bar Cosmetics. This is the Poison Garden 2 palette. Guys, this was my very first time trying Beaute Bar, and I absolutely loved this palette. Again, I think you can see why I love the color story. We have yellow, we have green. This is definitely like a garden color story, and we have some really unique shimmer shades. We have no pressed glitter, but we do have some shades that are a little bit textured. I believe there's a couple duochromes in this palette as well. I just like the color arrangement of this palette. I love the different textures that they included in this palette, and this is beautiful. I am looking forward to trying adding more Beaute Bar Cosmetics to my stash. You do get a mirror with this one. Poison Garden 2. Now, obviously, there is a Poison Garden 1. I don't have that one, but I want to say when they restocked this palette, or when they do the next restock of this palette, that one is going to be restocked as well. I will have it linked in the description box, and you can go browse their website, see what they got. But this one, Poison Garden 2, it's a winner. Coming at number 13 is the Glamlite and Hershey's Kisses collection. So the 2 palettes I have here, this one is the Special Dark. And when did I use these? I used these when I did a recent Shop My Stash video. And then this one that I have here, the pink one, this one is called Lava Cake. Guys, Glamlite is an amazing company. They have a really nice eyeshadow palette formula, and it is a food-themed indie makeup brand. And I did order the new Frosted Flakes collection, so hopefully it hasn't shipped out yet, so I'm hoping it ships out soon so I can try it for you guys. I do have my little cup of Frosted Flakes on hand waiting, that way I can snack on it when I get to dive into that palette. But unfortunately for me, guys, I sat on these Hershey's palettes for a while. Like, they were in my stash on my dining room table for I think a good month before I sat down to film with them. I usually don't wait that long to sit down and film with product. I usually film right away. But I don't know, I had so many things coming in, and I knew there was already a lot of videos. By the time I got these palettes, there was already a lot of videos up. So I guess I just didn't feel too much of a rush to kind of get my content up, but I'm glad I did. Better late than never. But I liked the formula. I like the packaging. I mean, what's not to love, guys? I eat a piece of chocolate, 2 pieces sometimes, but it's sugar-free every single day. So I have a small piece after lunch, I have a small piece after dinner. Sometimes it is dark chocolate, but it's usually always sugar-free. And I love these palettes, and I love the color story, and I love Glamlite. Coming in at number 12 is the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Dollhouse palette. This is my very first eyeshadow palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. I also picked up their eyeshadow brushes, which you guys have been seeing me use. I really love those brushes. They are synthetic brushes, but this eyeshadow palette is such a special color story. I don't own anything like this in my stash. This is definitely something that filled a void here in my makeup collection, because this really takes us from light pastel to deep. And look at the beautiful shimmer shadows that we're getting. We're getting 12 different shimmer shadows in this palette and 18 different matte shades in this palette. Did I do my math right? Yes, I think I did. So again, the tones in here, light, medium, deep. This is a palette that blends very easily. And this is a formula that is very buildable. So not only is it blendable, it is buildable. So if you don't want a dark, dramatic look, then you don't have to. Just go in with a light hand and you're going to be fine. That's what I like about Blend Bunny Cosmetics, at least this palette, is that you can build into the look and the payoff that you want from the shadows. I think this is a really great place for me to start, and I definitely look forward to trying more from this brand. I'm so excited to see what is coming from Blend Bunny. I know a lot of you have been loving your Dollhouse palette. You've been loving everything that you've gotten from Blend Bunny Cosmetics, and it was all of you guys who encouraged me to try Blend Bunny. You were asking if I was gonna get this palette, and here it is, and I'm so happy that it's in my stash. All right, guys, coming in at number 11 is the only palette I do not physically have in front of me. I have the sleeve that it came in, and it's the Gourmande Girls Galactic Gourmande. This is a duo and multi-chrome palette. So let me pop a picture of it here. This was sent to me in PR by Christina, the owner of Gourmande Girls, and this is, I think, their first time doing an all duo and multi-chrome eyeshadow palette. And wow, this is a really nice palette to add to your stash if you are maybe trying multi and duochromes for the first time. Christina did an amazing job with this palette and the shades that they included. I did a couple looks where I used this palette in conjunction with the Nomad Paradise Islands palette, and I loved the way those looks turned out. Again, I will have corresponding videos, as many as I can, in the description box that you guys can reference those. But this was such a special palette, such an amazing palette, and she did it at a really nice price point. I want to say it was less than $40, but guys, you have to know that it's not cheap to make duochromes, it's not cheap to make multi-chromes, and to do them all in one palette, that does become kind of costly. But I think this is a beautiful palette, and this is a collab palette. This is a collab palette with Carrie. Is it Carrie? I'll have the channel in the description box of this video. Anyways, it's an amazing palette, and I highly recommend checking it out. I do have a code. The code will be in the description box. That way, in case you want to order this, you can save a little bit of money on it. Coming in at number 10 is the new Menagerie Sugar High eyeshadow palette. Like, okay, artwork, how cute is that? Oh my goodness. And then here we have a pastel palette with a little bit of depth to it. Now, I think this is is this my highest? No, I think there's another pastel palette in here, but I've always been a fan of the Menagerie eyeshadow formula. This is already my third Menagerie Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. I have Indigo Ink and I have Serenity, which is a collaboration with Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. Sugar High is just as amazing, just as beautiful. For me, I consider this a pastel palette, but I consider this like a mid-tone pastel palette, and I love the shimmer formula. The shimmer to matte ratio is perfect for me in this palette. I love the size of the palette. We do get a mirror. And it's just a really nice formula. If you've never tried Menagerie Cosmetics before, I highly recommend you do. Any of those three palettes, I can speak from experience. They are all amazing. And how cute is this? Oh, I love it. I love it. Guys, check this one out. Now, coming in at number 9 is the new ColourPop and Star Wars collection. This is round 4. I have a feeling this is going to be it, at least for a good while, when it comes to ColourPop and Star Wars collaborations. And I love that this is featuring the old school characters. How awesome is the artwork on this palette? I just think everything, even down to the color story, this is really nice. This was a really good release from ColourPop. I mean, I have still some of the collection in front of me. This is the Jelly Much Shadows. I just think they did everything right. This is one of the lipsticks. I think they did everything right with this collection. The only thing I would have changed about this is maybe a couple, like this shade right here and maybe this shade right here, or even this shade and this shade, because I feel like they are super similar. Those 4 shades are just very similar to one another, so I think I would have just switched out maybe 2 of them. But other than that, the performance is spot on. I really love the color story. I just love the entire collection. Again, I've already reviewed this one very recently, a couple days ago reviewed, but I ended up using this palette the day after I did that video, and I created a look. It was with blue eyeshadow. I think it's the look that I have in the video right before this one goes up. It's of my summer makeup favorites, so I did use this palette for the look I have in that video. But this is just a good palette. This is a good palette. It's still in stock right now. It's on the Ulta Beauty website, and I believe it's the entire collection, I think, is still in stock on the ColourPop website. So if you're liking the artwork and maybe you are a ride or die Star Wars fan, then you either already picked this up or maybe you're gonna be picking it up really soon. Now, coming in at number 8 is this little cutie right here from Sugar Drizzle. This is their latest release. This is the MILF Man I Love Frogs Duo Multichrome and Shimmer Eyeshadow Palette. So we're getting 12 gorgeous shades in this palette. I want to say this is priced like at $46, but again, this is a duo and multi-chrome palette. Those are more expensive to formulate, but several YouTubers do have discount codes to where you can probably take like 10% off. I highly recommend checking this out. If it is in stock when this video goes up, run, do not walk on this one, guys. These shades are so special and they're so beautiful. And guys, if it's gonna be your first time trying multi-chromes and duochromes, I would recommend this one from Sugar Drizzle and the Galactic Gourmande from Gourmande Girls. Either one of those, guys, you can't go wrong with. They're both very special palettes. I love both of them. I'm so happy. Guys, I was gifted this palette. I was sent it in PR. I had never received anything from Sugar Drizzle, and I've been buying all of their palettes for like the last year. I was so happy when Nikki reached out to me. She's the owner of Sugar Drizzle, and she wanted to send me this palette. I was like, yes, I would love to try that palette. So of course you can watch my review of this palette. I will have it in the description box, but this is a good one. And how cute is the artwork on this palette, and the name MILF Man I Love Frogs, too cute. An awesome release from Sugar Drizzle. Coming in at number 7, I have a duo of palettes, and I'm talking about Melt Gemini. So I have Gemini 1 and the pink one is Gemini 2. This was my first time trying the Gemini palettes, and so I bought them as a bundle. Here's what Gemini 1 looks like. Beautiful. This is my neutral palette. This is the way I like to do neutrals. We have grungy tones in here, and then we have some nice brown camel color shades down here. We have that nice matte black in the center. 2 shimmer shadows. That's okay. That's okay. I can work with that. This was a really nice palette from Melt. This could be Gemini 1 could be my most favorite Melt Cosmetics palette, but Gemini 2 and artwork on the packaging on both are just spectacular. You do get a mirror with both. Gemini 2 is just as beautiful, and I like that there's rosy tones in here with, you know, the grungy greens over there. I think it's just a very nice combination of the two shades. So it's really gonna matter, do you want the rose tones or do you want like those camel brown tones, to where maybe you're gonna have to just pick one. For me, if I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna go with Gemini 1, but performance, they both perform amazingly well. They perform the same. I mean, if you can get them both, get them both. But I think if you're only going to pick one, then just go by whether you want the rosy tones or the camel tones, and that'll help you make your decision. Coming in at number 6 was a palette I was forgetting to put on my list, and that's because I had it on the very top shelf, and I guess I just didn't look up there. But I don't know how I could forget this one, because this was a beautiful palette to work with, and it is this one right here from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Sleepover palette. I bought the entire Sleepover collection, which consisted of this 9-pan palette. It also included 2 blushes, a highlighter, and I believe 2 lip glosses, all of which I use and reach for pretty often. This is a beautiful palette, and this was supposed to be released around Valentine's Day, but it got held up for whatever reason, I guess in production and stuff, and so it was released later on in March. I didn't mind. I was happy to receive it whenever I received it, and I did create a couple looks with it. I think I got this during spring break, and I created a couple looks during spring break, but this is beautiful. I love Unearthly Cosmetics. I'm slowly building up my Unearthly Cosmetics stash, and this was just such a cute palette. Like the entire collection, the artwork and everything, I thought it was really cute. It was different, and this is a winner from Unearthly. Coming in at number 5 is a collab palette from Adept and Heather Austin. This is my very first time trying Adept Cosmetics. I am new to Adept, and I am new to Heather Austin's channel. How gorgeous is this? How beautiful is this palette? Heather loves her shimmer shadows, and that's why this is a shimmer heavy palette. This does contain multi and duochromes. Is it multichromes or duochromes? It could be both or one or the other, but it does contain those special shadows. And of course, we are getting 4 matte shades. I love the green, I love the yellow, and then I do like these 2 matte shades down here at the bottom. I think the matte shades are perfect complements to the shimmer shadows in this palette. And guys, these shimmer shadows, they look like one color in the pan, but when you put them on the eye, they look totally different. You're definitely gonna wanna swatch this out. You're gonna have so much fun swatching this palette out. It is just stunning. It is stunning. They do recommend using glitter glue when using the shimmer shades in this palette. They did such a good job. Congratulations to Adept and Heather Austin. This is a beautiful, beautiful palette. I think it's already on its 2nd restock. Is this going to be a permanent? I'm not too sure if this is going to be permanent in the Adept Cosmetics line. It might be. It might be. That would be awesome if it is. But if it's not, I would grab it if it's still in stock, because, you know, if it's a collab, it may or may not be restocked again. Coming in at number 4 is this cutie pie right here from ColourPop. This is the Winnie the Pooh collection, the palette. This is the Sweet as Can Be eyeshadow palette. Like, just appreciate the artwork for a second. Look at that. I mean, too cute. Like, if this doesn't melt your heart, I don't know what's gonna do it. And here is what the inside of the palette looks like. Believe it or not, I loved this color story. And I know it looks neutral, but it kind of doesn't feel neutral when I was creating the 2 looks that I did with it. Like, it just, I don't know if it was the green, if it was this like reddish maroonish shade here, this like terracotta shade right here. I just love the tones, and I probably loved it because it has green and it's Winnie the Pooh. It's too cute, but I really had a good experience with this palette, like a really good experience. And I just thought, again, ColourPop paid attention to all the details like they did with the Star Wars collection that was just released last week. With this Winnie the Pooh collection, wow, like they did. I know a lot of people are just waiting for this to be restocked. They're waiting for the little honey pots, the lip scrub and the lip mask to be restocked. And for some of you, that's all you want are those little honey pots. But I would definitely recommend the palette. The palette is really good. It's good quality. It's just so cute to look at. I do keep it on display behind me, and this was a really nice release from ColourPop. All right, guys, now we are heading into the top 3 eyeshadow palettes that I've tried the last couple months. Guys, I've tried so many palettes, so many eyeshadow palettes, but coming in at number 3 is the second Sugar Drizzle palette in this list. This is the Dragonfly Warrior eyeshadow palette. I bought this palette when it was released, and it's beautiful. I mean, you can see why it's coming in at number 3, because there's green, there's yellow, there's these gorgeous multi and duochrome shadows in here. I do love that she gave us a matte black. This is a beautiful color story. Like, I could use this palette for a whole year straight, a whole year, and never get tired of it. The shadows are just so special, those shimmer shades and everything. And I think the 3 matte shades that Nikki gave us in this palette are perfect. That's all we need. That's all we need to have fun playing with these multi and duochromes. If you haven't tried Sugar Drizzle and their multi and duochrome formula, their shimmer formula, even their matte formula, I think I would recommend for Sugar Drizzle to get like one of these palettes that contains a couple matte shades. That way you can just try a little bit of everything. But don't get me wrong, the MILF palette is outstanding, but this is just a little bit more special. I guess because I can create full-on looks, I don't have to bring in another palette. This is just a beautiful palette from Sugar Drizzle, Dragonfly Warrior, coming in at number 3. All right, guys, 2 palettes left. 2 palettes left. Coming in at number 2 is the Nomad Cosmetics Paradise Islands palette. I love the beach, guys. Every year I take a vacation, a summer vacation, and I always go to a beautiful beach, and I'm going in a few weeks. And I think this palette is going to be coming with me. I do want to bring a neutral palette, which I'm going to be taking the Fenty. And I think this is going to be the colorful palette that I bring along for the trip. I usually don't end up wearing a lot of makeup, but I feel like it's fitting. It's fitting for me to take this palette with me to the beach because this embodies Tahiti and Bora Bora. And unfortunately, I'm not going to either of those places. But, you know, where I'm going is still going to be just as beautiful. So Nomad Paradise Islands palette. This is a nice pastel, mid-tone pastel eyeshadow palette. I love their matte formula. I love their shimmer formula. I think I love the shimmer formula more than I love the matte formula, but I feel like Nomad just keeps getting better and better. Like every palette that they come out with feels like it's just one step up from the last. And this color story is definitely something that I gravitate towards. And again, I really like that while it's a pastel palette, there's definitely some depth. I can definitely use like the blue, the green to kind of just deepen up the looks with. And I love it. I love it. This palette is perfection. All right, guys, coming in at number 1, did you guess? It is the Lethal Cosmetics Night Flower palette. Guys, this eyeshadow palette is, I think, Lethal's best. I feel like this palette is a major step up from other palettes that they've released. I feel like this is such an improved formula, and not that their formula was bad to begin with. I mean, but this was just, I feel like a 180. I mean, they really did something special with this palette, with the entire collection actually. And I ended up picking up 2 out of the 3 highlighters, which are beautiful highlighters. And I picked up one of the 4 gel liners, which Lethal makes my favorite gel eyeliners. You can put them in the waterline. They don't sting, they don't burn. They last all day. They're waterproof, they last all day. And this palette is spectacular. This is just so pretty. If you like pinks, you like purples, and a couple fun pops of blue, get this palette, guys. And you can even depot it all of their palettes are magnetic to where you can pop it out and put it in your own palette, or you know, you can always build your own palette on the Lethal Cosmetics website. I ordered this from the Camera Ready Cosmetics website, which is based here in the US. Lethal is a German-based indie makeup brand, but they have pretty fast shipping and they have good shipping. So if you're here in the US and you want to order straight from Lethal, if you do, I think it's the expedited, which I think it's only $10. It's really not that bad. You should get it within a week, because I know I've ordered stuff from them in the past and I do expedite it and it comes in a really decent amount of time. It's not like waiting for a Beauty Bay order to come in. That takes a while, but this is just, you know, this is a good palette, and I think I'm putting it at number 1 just because I honestly see an improvement in the formula from their previous palettes to this one. It's just amazing. Night Flower, Lethal Cosmetics, number 1 in my stash. All right, guys, so that wraps up my eyeshadow palette ranking video. Those were all the palettes that I tried in the last couple months. That was a lot. That was more than in the first couple months of 2022. But I'm going to be doing these videos every couple months. I just want to build up a little bit of a pile before I do these videos. I don't want to do them when it's just like 10 or 12. I want to, you know, have something to talk about. I want you to really see the ranking and how all of these palettes fall. You guys have seen me create numerous looks with all of these palettes. And again, I will link as much stuff and include as much stuff as I can in the description box. I am limited to 5,000 characters, and believe me, 5,000 characters can go like that. The makeup that I am wearing, I will have it linked in a pinned comment, so that way in case you want to check any of it out. I am using the Hella palette from Udenzi and Angelica Nyquist. It is still in stock right now, but it might not be in stock for long, so I would definitely head over to Udenzi if you have had your eye on that palette. But let me know your thoughts, guys. What are some of the eyeshadow palettes that are number 1 or on your top 10 list right now in your stash? Or what are some eyeshadow palettes that you have tried recently that you're just like, no, Steph, I need to return that, or I need to give it away, or I need to throw it away? Sound off in the comments down below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. You all have a great day or night, wherever it is you all are at. Stay hydrated, guys. Drink your water. Cheers. And I will see you all very soon. Bye.